Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning, live edition Matthews in the Morning coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there at Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Also, Comfort Temp Heating and Air is your number one local HVAC company. Go visit them at comforttemp.com. We'll give a shout out to Atlantic Roofing, who sponsors our clip of the day. If you missed it last night, Gators win, beat the Miami Hurricanes by 14 over in Jacksonville. Very physical game. Also, the Eagles defeat the Lions last night in Sunday Night Football. Tonight, Monday Night Football, you got the Raiders and the Cowboys, two bad football teams. Let's go to the Titan Mo hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by JC. What's up?
What did you say about the Miami Hurricanes?
We beat them last night in basketball.
Oh, down in Miami. Yeah, basketball.
No, we beat them in Jacksonville, JC.
I mean Jacksonville. Yeah. They also had a football game in Jacksonville.
Yep. And the Jaguars won. You picked the Chargers. I picked the Jaguars.
Yeah.
It's the National Football League, man. You don't know what's going to happen.
That was the best game the Jaguars have played in 10 years. I swear it was.
Yeah, but whenever a good team is favored by like 3 points on the road against a bad team, there's something going on. They know something.
Well, yeah, it was the Chargers didn't get off the airplanes.
Right. They know that.
But I'll tell you, you have to give credit to Jacksonville. I mean, dear God, that was the most physical they've played defensively since the Marcus Stroud, John Henderson, Ben Roethlisberger, Jaguar, Pittsburgh Steeler games of the old days, man. That they look good. When Jacksonville plays like that, good heavens! And I think Jacoby Myers makes a huge difference for Trevor as another target, much better than Travis Hunter. He just seems to get open. I really was impressed. The Jaguars are 6-4. They are in the 7th wild card spot or 7th playoff spot in the NFC, 3rd wild card. But they have 2 games with the Colts still to play. So anything can still happen for Jacksonville in that division.
Yeah. We'll have Mike Morgan in the second portion of today's show. But Gators lose to Ole Miss. It was a tremendous atmosphere for a college football game. Ole Miss brought out all the stops. Their fireworks had these incredible drone shows going on during the stadium. The Grove is the Grove. It's no better tailgating spectacle in America than the Grove. So
why don't you describe it for us? Why don't you describe it for us there, QB? Let's hear what it was like.
Well, here's what I will tell you, because I went to several of my buddies' tents from that I haven't seen in years from my 2 high schools I went to.
Yeah.
It's extremely crowded.
Yeah.
I mean, it is tents. They're lined directly next to one another. Here's what's interesting, JC, and kudos to Ole Miss for this.
Mm-hmm.
To get a spot in the Grove, you have to pay for that spot, right? They set your tent up and all that. Okay. But on top of the cost of the tent, they charge $375 per tent for NIL.
Okay.
And I guarantee you there's 2,000 tents in there minimum.
I wonder how they came up with that number 370.
Well, I don't know that either. But here's what they also do: you go to the concession stand, you buy a beer or a Coke or a hot dog, and it's $14.90, or let's just say it's $14.15. They're going to round up to the nearest dollar. That goes to NIL. Then they have a thing where you click to add $1, add 5, 10, 20, 100, 500. They said somebody bought a beer last year and it has like a spot for other and put 100 and paid $100,000, which all goes to NIL. So,
well, it's
very creative. I don't know why. I mean, you might as well do it. Why not do it? I know other restaurants do that as well. So
you know what? It'll work, QB, as long as the fans want to keep paying it, and they will if the team plays like they should.
Well, they have a very good offense. Their defense is very suspect to me. They Lane was very upset. If you heard, well, y'all probably didn't hear the broadcast of his comment going into the locker room. Their
Yeah.
plan was to play soft zone coverage and keep the ball in front of them, and we threw it over their heads, and he was pissed off.
Yes, they
They
did.
come out in the second half. They had a safety sitting 30 yards. I kid you not, 30 yards from the ball.
What was the big hubbub he had with the officiating? The
Well,
official.
it was a terrible call that so at the end of the game they got a good call on a pass interference on our last drive. Now, whether we score or not, who knows? Because we were on like the 2 yard line.
Yeah.
But they kicked a field goal and there was hands to the face. The official said the hands to the face were after the play. It was clearly during the play. He lost his mind.
Yeah.
He even
I think he said the officials admitted it later.
they did. He was talking to John Darnell, who is their Tate Casey, their sideline guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just like, we're not playing well, blah, 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 blah. And the officials are effing us. He said it on their broadcast.
Well, that's why they love him up there. He's one of them. He feels like they feel like he's one of them, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done a phenomenal job. It's like I told my buddy, I said, it's like the Lane Kiffin cult there.
Yeah.
With the come to the sip.
Oh yeah.
His dog, the Juice, who's always on the bus, who leads the walk. It's in Juice, and all that was in the light show. So anyway, Ole Miss is outstanding on offense. Their quarterback is phenomenal, phenomenal running back. They got good skill guys. I don't know how far they can go because I do not like their defense at all.
Well, it's carried them this far. They're 9-1. You have to give Florida a little bit of credit here. I mean, they executed a play they saw, and it worked a couple times. But Lacey, 31 carries, 224, 7.2 yards per run, 3 touchdowns. It's like Ray Davis for Kentucky a couple years ago. You just can't stop the guy. And why wouldn't Ole Miss keep giving it to him, right? 31 times. 31 times.
I've said it. I think going into the game, I thought he was the best running back in the league.
Yeah.
I think he's got a chance to be the SEC Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
He's that good.
Yeah, that was a good performance. I think, look, both teams really fought hard. It was good to see Florida not fold and not lay down like the week before. And I think you'll see the same type of effort against Tennessee this weekend. I mean, they'll play hard. They'll try. I mean, this is basically the next 2 games of their season. That's after that, the season's over. This is kind of like their bowl games coming up. So I don't know. Ole Miss is going to need a little help. They could have gotten some of that help with South Carolina, but leave it to South Carolina to be the first team in 21 years of conference play when to be leading by 27 points and lose. Since before, let's see, in 21 years of conference play, teams are 0-286 when trailing by 27 points until Saturday. Thank you, South Carolina. I about had it with Shane Beamer. They've lost 6 in a row. They're better than that, and it's just too bad. I mean, they got players there, so it's just too bad for them. And Texas A&M, could be their dream season for sure. And I was not in the least surprised by Oklahoma, even though on the stats sheet they got dominated. They won the most important stat of the day, and that's the final score. And defensively, something about Brett Venables. He is 5-1, or they are 5-1 against Alabama. So Alabama can't beat Oklahoma, and that didn't.
It's crazy. Oklahoma has a very good chance to make the playoffs now.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, they've only got 2 losses, so they're right there in the thick of it. Alabama, everything's still in front of them. Beat Auburn and you go to Atlanta. If you beat Auburn and go to Atlanta, you're pretty much locked into the CFP. So if they can't beat Auburn, they don't deserve to go anywhere. So
right. This Clayton on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law says, Shane, do your Ole Miss friends think Lane is staying? No, they don't. Here, real quick, MSRK says Beamer was relieved of his duty. No, he wasn't fired.
I haven't heard that either.
Don't believe there was one. So people get confused, JC, on Twitter. There's On3 Sports, and then there's somebody that does this No3 Sports.
Okay.
And whoever No3 Sports is, puts stuff on there
that's not true.
It's not true. So people get it confused. So Shane Bieber's still their coach. Now there's a chance he could be fired at the end of the year. but he's not fired right now. Justin wants to know, QB on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Why did we get away from the QB run in the second half? It seemed to open up more runs for ball and open up the pass game. I don't know the answer to that. I thought we played okay. We had some big plays. People get so excited about big plays, right? Which you got to have, but we can't complete anything that's not a big play, like down the field. We can't complete any intermediate throws.
Was DJ's interception there in the second half deflected? Or did he just?
I think so.
I think it was. Yeah, I think down on the sideline, they were killing DJ for that pass. I think it got deflected.
Yeah,
but that hurt. That hurt badly.
They had a chance to tie the ball game up.
That's right. That's right.
Electronics World Integration Design Specialist for Smart Home Automation and Entertainment. It's Gator season. Let Electronics World bring the Florida Gators college football and the NFL to your living room. Can't talk this morning. Electronicsworld.com.
Well, you've been up a lot.
Not a whole lot of sleep. Not a whole lot of sleep. This text on the Titan More text line from Rick in Jupiter says, QB, what are your thoughts on the alleged strategy of Ole Miss pressing Lane to make his decision now, and they won't allow him to coach the season out?
No,
I think the allure of the playoffs keeps him, or the pressure expedites him to leave. Okay, I heard a lot about this while I was there. I think it would be the most ridiculous thing that Ole Miss could do.
No. Yeah, I mean,
I do believe 1,000% he will still be our coach, but if they do not allow him to, or don't allow him to coach the game or the playoffs, that is hurting their football team and their university. That would be the silliest thing they could possibly do.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, isn't it? I mean, think about this. Here you are, home playoff game at the Grove, mid-December, but your coach is a lame duck.
Okay, so let's just think of it this way. He's not a lame duck. He's just going to a different venue.
Yeah, no, he's going.
What if he said, you know what, I'm going to retire? What's the difference?
The difference is he would be going to another school to compete.
Okay, but let me ask you this, JC. Let me ask you this. If you were the athletic director, do you know who the athletic director is at Ole Miss?
I probably do, but no.
Okay, his name is Keith Carter. He was a basketball player there, a few years younger than me. He's probably 48, 49.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if the Ohio State University or the University of Alabama or maybe even LSU called and said, you know what, we would love for you to be our athletic director? Don't you think he's on the first damn plane out of town?
Very highly.
Okay, that's there's no different than the football coach then. There's no difference.
Well, I mean, football is athletics. Athletic director is administrative, and the coach on Saturday.
Go to the better programs that have more resources and all that stuff. I mean, that's an argument whether people want to agree with me or disagree. But anyway,
well, I would be
very upset. I would be very upset if they don't allow the guy to coach their team in the playoffs.
You would be very upset if you were an Ole Miss fan and you were going to a home playoff game knowing that your coach is not going to be there soon. That's when you.
Let me tell you something. A lot of the Ole Miss people are not happy right now with Lane.
Well, they want him to sign. They want him to sign the
right. And so it's very simple, JC. Put yourself as Lane right now. Why has he not signed the extension?
Well, listen, I don't know, and that's the biggest. That's the biggest tip.
It's very simple. Mike Elko signed his. Kurt Signetti signed his, and I'm sure there's other ones. He's not signing it because he's not going to stay.
Right, and that's what logic would tell you. Yes.
Right.
So there's every reason for Ole Miss fans to be unhappy.
Right. But again, I understand Ole Miss's situation. I understand their fans, but they also have to say, okay, if I have an opportunity to go to a dream job of mine where the school has had some success, they've won national titles, they produce Heisman Trophy winners. You're 2 hours from three major cities that have tons of talent. Like I told you, the Ole Miss fan base, and it's all because of Lane. It's like a cult now, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they're winning.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that wouldn't be different anywhere else in America. But the thing is that, if he has personal aspirations to do more or to do something else elsewhere, he can do that, but he can get the same result at Ole Miss that he could get at Florida. I believe that, because if they're going to go 10, 11-1, which is very likely, and they have a chance to win a national championship, it's no different than winning it anywhere.
No, I agree, but his schedule changes next year. It's not what he's had the last couple of years.
Well, and that's true, and Florida's gets easier.
Yes,
I know that.
Look, Ole Miss has had a phenomenal run under him, but they've had a lot of scheduling their way.
Bro, there's no question, and there's a lot of reasons why Florida is very attractive. There's a lot of reasons why some people think it's not, but I think, if you look at it objectively, yeah, you'd have to say, man, that's a good job down there in Gainesville. Yeah, they've had some turnover lately. It's because the guys didn't produce. That's why. It would be no different anywhere else in the SEC. Look at what's happening at Auburn. Look at what's happening at
if you don't have the right coach, you ain't going to win.
Look at what happened at Texas before Sark, right? They were filing Tom Herman, Charlie Strong. I mean, they were going in and out of Texas just as easily as they go in and out of Auburn or anywhere else. It's just the way of the world right now. And so, yeah, he probably says, man, I think I can really get something done in Gainesville, and I can rub elbows with Coach Spurrier and those guys down there. Look, there's a lot of reasons to say yes. There's reasons to say no. But we're going with what you've said for 2 months.
Yeah. This is from Chris and Mike. It says, Shane, the Ole Miss postgame podcasters were melting down because of Lane's demeanor during the whole week. They know he is gone and just want him to make a decision one way or the other. Also, there are some reports of Spurrier pitching the job to Lane this weekend in Oxford. Any truth? No, Coach was not there.
It's funny how you hear this. There were reports that Spurrier, this is the figment of people's brains just saying, I'm going to write something down and toss it out there so everybody can talk about it. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it, though?
Yeah.
The Florida Gator airplane's in Atlanta. Oh, well, that must be.
That was true. It was in Atlanta.
It was in Atlanta, but it had to mean that he was talking to Brett Key. That's what it had to mean.
They could have been talking to Raheem Morris. Isn't he the head coach of the Falcons?
Yes, they could have been talking. Anything could have been happening with that plane in Atlanta, but no, hell yeah, it's all about Georgia Tech's off week, and they're going to move that coach down to Gainesville and give him $10 million. Right? I mean, this is the they say talking season happens before the season. It happens during the season as well, very much so.
Yeah. I mean, Skip says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, would Kiffin be interested in Florida if Spurrier was not around? Yeah, I mean, he's talked about it multiple times on podcasts and stuff that I don't know if idolize is the correct term, but he admired the way Coach Spurrier coached. That's why he wears the visor. That's why he takes shots at people. That's not going to be a determining factor for him to take the job or not. I think he just has always wanted to coach it in a venue like this. And, JC, here's what's crazy is I saw he took another shot at his fan base. Somebody asked him, he's like, man, it was a great atmosphere, but where were they last week against the Citadel?
Well, come on. That's not fair to fans.
I know, but
give me a break. That's a Nick Saban thing right there. That's all Nick Saban there. Right. He used to yell at the fans for leaving early in the game. Who the hell wants to sit in the hot ass sun when it's 65-6 and you got beer to drink on University Boulevard and football to watch and girls to go talk to and things to do, right? And boys to talk to. Girls and boys want to talk. They don't want to sit in that damn place. But there is a reason why, the Citadel's on the schedule. The bigger question should be, why is the Citadel on our schedule? This weekend, look at the schedule in the SEC. But, I say that, and then I look at Ohio State's schedule and I go, wow, think about this stretch. Penn State, UCLA, week off, Rutgers. Damn, how do they do it? You look at these schedules in these other conferences, and always it's scrutinized in the SEC because they play these Eastern Illinois teams and Mercer and people like that. But my God, I mean, it's the same thing in the other conferences. They play the MAC, they play these small conference schools for scheduling reasons. You can't just line up Murderer's Row and think you're going to get home every year. It's not going to work. But the schedule, man, this weekend is a struggle. It's a struggle. But Tennessee, Florida is going to be the game that I think. Well, actually, I don't know really what that means, but I guess it means more for. Well, it means more.
What's going to be the struggle?
Well, it's this weekend's schedule in the SEC looks like a struggle. It's going to be.
You're talking about from a fan standpoint?
Yeah, just from a competitive standpoint, basically. It's that one weekend in November everybody gives us hell about in the SEC when we are only playing 8 games. But now with the 9-game schedule coming, you're going to see less of this. But I still go back to, well, I don't know what the difference between some of these teams that we're going to see this weekend and UCLA and Rutgers. I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Probably isn't. But the Ohio State schedule, it's incredible how I was there 2 weeks ago. People are bored as hell, dude. They're just dying to get to the postseason. It sucks when you have to wait 3 months for your football season to start. But they did beat Texas by 7. And I'll tell you what, that Texas team is as average as it gets. And give Georgia all the credit in the world. That Gunnar Stockton doesn't get talked about the way most of these other quarterbacks do in America, but he's damn good. And I think Georgia is really hoping for they'd be just as fine not going to the SEC championship, to tell you the truth, because it really killed them last year by going. So, the Alabama going to the SEC championship to play Texas A&M is a good game. We'll see how that goes.
Text on the Titanamar text line from George. He says, I'd like to know if either one of y'all had to pick a quarterback in the Southeastern Conference to start your team with right now, who would you take?
Wow. Oh, well, I think they're all the ones who are winning right now all have their own strengths and they all match with their personnel. And I think they all can win. It's who's winning right now, right? Which quarterback is winning? Well,
it's who's playing who's played the best this year.
You can make a case for Marcel Reed until the first half of the South Carolina game.
Every quarterback's going to have a few bad decisions.
And Gunnar Stockton to me is a winner. Kid at I think Alabama's quarterback's pretty good. He's got no run support whatsoever. I thought the kid at Tennessee that we're going to see this Saturday is very competitive. He's quite a good passer. Had Georgia on the ropes. We thought Nussmeier was good. He's gotten hurt. He's had a terrible year. So I don't know. What would you say? I'd say I like the kid at Ole Miss, but it requires Lane Kiffin to be on the sideline for me. I don't know if he's the same guy without that coach and that staff on the sideline. I don't know. Is he? You think he would be? I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that either. I just know the ones that I've seen in person this year, I'm taking Trinidad.
Yeah, you love him. And
I do. He's so fundamentally sound. His feet, his release, his accuracy. I said on the radio broadcast, Jason, people complain about wide receiver screens.
Yeah.
Ole Miss runs a ton of them, but why they're successful in them? Because he gets the ball out extremely fast, accurate, and where the receiver can catch the ball and make a move and go. He's not throwing it behind him. He's not throwing it low.
Yeah.
It's just the little things that he does, man.
It's
very impressive.
Well, it's amazing to me that how Coach found him. It's like, where did he learn to look, and who told him about this guy, and how did he find this?
No, I know the story. They're Richard Cross from Ole Miss. Well, he does ESPN now, but he used to be the Ole Miss sideline reporter. Lives in Oxford. He said it Friday. They were looking for a quality backup throughout college football to be like an insurance policy for Austin Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
And some of their little young guys that crunched the numbers and watched tape, they won the D2 division national championship. Championship.
Yeah.
They watched him and he told the stories like,
we can work with this.
They all looked at him. Joe Judge is the quarterback coach. Charlie Weiss Jr. watched him, and they're like, man, we got to let Lane look at this kid. They looked at him, and Lane's like, well, let's bring him in for a visit. Well, they wanted to bring him for a visit, but supposedly they were having like their championship parade or whatever. And he's like, I can't go. They like, no, we're going to get you a ticket. You're on the plane. You're coming. He came there. They signed him.
There you go. Yeah.
Pretty good story.
Good for them. Good for them.
So they found him.
I do think the answer to the question, though, is it's just I think these quarterbacks with their coaches, I think Aguilar is good because of Josh Heupel is there helping him. Gunnar Stockton is great because I think Mike Bobo does a great job with him. I think coaches matter so much. And I think that's what happened to DJ this year. I just think his coach sucks and this coach is no longer there. And DJ.
But did you like that DJ last year?
I wasn't thrilled, but I didn't hate him.
It's just the fundamentals, man. You can't play at that position if you don't have fundamentals. You have zero chance.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that he would have lost all his fundamentals over the summer.
He had bad fundamentals last year, though, JC. People didn't see it because he completed balls down the field. That's all the average fan cares about, it balls down the field. They don't care about the wide receiver screens I just talked about. They don't care about hitting the check down where the guy can catch it. and make somebody miss. They don't care about the dig route that you throw
Yeah.
it 15 yards
Yeah.
on time in front
Yeah.
of a game. That is more important than throwing the damn ball deep.
Yeah. Well, it is. Yeah. It's definitely you have to be consistent. You have to be accurate. That's
Yes,
right.
that's the consistency is the number one key to being a good
100%.
quarterback.
100%. You got to
Um,
get the ball in the end zone too. You have to get the ball in the end zone.
yeah, he says right here, this is Nat Blaylock says on YouTube, brought to you by
Oh,
all the
Nat.
people he offered Tramel Jones to come to Ole Miss, but he came here. He also had Marcel Reed coming to Ole Miss, but he ended up going to A&M. I think because Jackson Dart uh was there at the time. So
Yeah, I definitely agree with Mark or MSRK. Lane's going to bring his own quarterback. There's no question about that. Uh, you think it's going to be that Simmons kid?
I think it's a possibility, yes.
Yes. Trinidad is,
And a couple others. I think Trinidad is out of eligibility, but all you got to do now is appeal, and you'll probably get
you'll
a
probably
couple
get it.
more.
Iceman says he doesn't know if it's a lock if Alabama loses in the SEC title game. It's a lock. You don't take the two teams in the conference championship. And, Alabama shouldn't get penalized for having to playing in that game if they go 7-1 in the league. So with a win at Georgia. So it's a lock. I think that the SEC is looking at 5. I really do. I think it's 5 teams. I don't think Texas is going to make it unless they beat A&M. They have to beat A&M.
Yeah.
But they're 17th right now in the AP poll. The SEC has 9 teams in the AP poll, number 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, 17, 20, and 23. They're going to get 5. The Big 10 has 5 teams, 1, 2, tied for 6, 16, and 18. The Big 12 has 4, tied for 6, 11, 13, 25. The ACC has 3, highest is 14th. Then you have the James Madison Dukes, 9-1 out of the Sun Belt, and North Texas State Mean Green out of the American Conference, both at 9-1. One of those 2 teams is going to go. The ACC champion is probably going to go. So that means you have to be in the top 10 in the college football playoff rankings because 11 and 12 is going to be taken by those 2 spots. So if Alabama beats Auburn, they're likely going to make it. But if they don't, they shouldn't, and they should stay home.
I agree with that. Jerry on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, said, is Ole Miss is running back a senior? No, he's a redshirt freshman or sophomore. It was down to Ole Miss and Missouri. He went to Missouri last year, did not play, and so then he transferred. So he's either a redshirt freshman or a sophomore. Very good player out of Texas.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. So another 7:30 game, QB. Damn.
Well, at least it's a home game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I get to play golf in the morning.
There you go. Yeah, it's 7:30. Oh man, it's almost like the night games are now the lower seeded type games. They're making the noon game and the 3:30 game.
I don't know if it's because of ABC is the SEC network now. If they're trying to put that noon game to compete with the big noon from Fox.
Ugh.
Although Fox only has one good game, and I guess that's where they put it. So
That's
I don't
where
know.
they put it. But Iowa, or rather Indiana, Wisconsin, big noon, really? Who the
Yeah.
hell? That tells you just the lack of depth in that conference. That's why they only have 5 teams ranked right now.
Greg on Facebook
18
Live.
teams.
Yeah, Greg says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, why Kiffin's defense is so crappy. Last year they had like 4 or 5 guys drafted off that defense. They had his team this year was not supposed to be as good as last year's team.
Yeah.
But they
you're
found
right.
ways
They
to
got,
win
but
games.
the schedule maker helped them. And
Well, it's the same schedule this year as they had
it
last.
is with the flip flop on the home venues. But listen, they may be crappy, but they're 9-1, dude. I mean,
No, they're 10-1.
so they let 2 get. They're 10-1. Yeah, that's right. And they let 2 guys get behind them in the secondary. Big damn deal. I don't think anybody was worried about losing that game at Ole Miss. Maybe they were. You were there.
Well, there were some rumblings whenever we were down 3 and had the ball to at least kick we were in field goal range to kick it to tie it up.
Yeah.
Now I will say this: we stopped them twice inside the 2-yard line. They
That's
got
right.
no points, so they're very, very good on offense. Let's get to this day in sports, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. 1956 Syracuse running back Jim Brown scores an NCAA record 43 points in one game against Colgate.
Oh,
I think he was probably the best athlete on the field playing against Colgate.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Good stuff.
All right, let's see if we got to get to. I forgot Mike Morgan's on, JC. Your time's up.
Okay. All right. Let's bring in Mike Morgan.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow there, JC. That's JC joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll join by Mike Morgan from Elite Radio Network. He was in Oxford calling the game on national radio. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, UF Health Orthopedics. Our gridiron sponsors are Baker's Sports, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, and MG&A Wealth. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And if you want to advertise, give my man Freddie a call at 352-284-3733.
Coach, you know what always impressed me, how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Landeros Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
The jewelry store with the most likes, the most positive reviews, the most raving fans is International Diamond Center.
IDC is definitely a place that I will come to as long as I live here. This will be my go-to place always.
Literally the best jewelry store in town. You'll make friends for life coming in here. I felt like family from the beginning. The value was extraordinary.
I've got a beautiful diamond on my finger and I'm very proud of it.
International Diamond Center.
I'm very happy to show it off.
At Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
And I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Gallo's Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations are Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Back to the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by Mike Morgan, who was on the call for national radio of the Ole Miss Gator game, and tonight he'll be on the call for the Tennessee Vols Rice Owls basketball game. Good morning, Mike. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, Shane. It was you and I were just talking over the break. There's no easy way to get in and out of Oxford, but of course, when you're the announcer for a school, which I've also done, you get to hop on the charter. So yesterday morning, my travels were drive to Memphis, fly through Atlanta, into Knoxville, and we'll be putting on the TV suit tonight for for Tennessee Rice. Tennessee's got a chance to have a really another good season. You know, they're one of 3 schools to make the last 3 Sweet 16s and the last 2 Elite Eights. Very few have done that. They got a kid, Nate Ament. Remember that name? He's a 6'10" freshman. He's going to be a lottery pick. But it'll be fun to kind of transition between the 2 sports here the next few days. But I was just thinking, the travel slightly different. You got back at 3 a.m. I wound up leaving on Sunday, of course, and now I'm at there's a Graduate Hotel. I think that launched in Oxford, if I'm not mistaken, Shane.
Yeah.
They're now like everywhere. So I've been to about 5 of them, but this one I think is fairly new. It's in Knoxville, and it's got, I mean, literally Peyton Manning stuff everywhere. I'm surrounded by Peyton Manning photos, Peyton Manning footballs, Peyton Manning helmets. As if this guy doesn't have enough commercials, he is everywhere in this hotel. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome. Let's jump into the game here real quick. JL Toronto Blue Jay guy on YouTube says, Shane, are you still as sure Kiffin is coming as you were 2 weeks ago? Absolutely, man. Hey, look, just because they won, I told you here, I thought they were going to win the game. Just because they win the game doesn't mean he's going to change his mind. Mike, I don't know if you heard this or if you've seen it on Twitter. You know, there's reports now that the Ole Miss fans are upset, and I don't know if it's the administration or somebody's saying it's the administration, that if Lane decides to sign with the Gators or come to the Gators, they're not going to let him coach in the playoffs. I think that is the dumbest thing they could possibly do. Do you agree or disagree with that?
There is no chance they would stop him from coaching in the playoffs. There's no chance. I don't see that. That is penny wise, pound foolish. You have every right to be butthurt that if he does leave, that he's leaving for another SEC school. He'll receive, hate mail, criticism, everything else. But if you're Ole Miss, do you want a chance to win a natty or not? Because without him on the sideline, you're not going to win anything in the playoffs in all likelihood, with all due respect to Charlie Weiss Jr. And they've got a good staff, but this is why everybody wants Lane. This is why he is on the doorstep of becoming the highest paid coach ever, no matter where he goes. It's because his play calling, his offensive scheme, his ability to adjust, it's second to none in college football. And I don't think there's any question about that, but I haven't really even thought of it that way, Shane. It's an interesting question your listener poses there, and it would be unprecedented in a lot of ways. But no, I can't see that happening. I just think that would be cutting off your nose to spite your face. Sometimes you just gotta deal with it, and you gotta go. This is a terrible analogy, but I'll make it anyway. Anybody who's ever been through a divorce, there's that moment in time where you guys know it's not going to work out and you're not going to be together, but you still live in the same house, and you got to sleep under the same roof until the house sells and you can move everything out. To me, that's kind of what it is. Like, okay, you feel spurned by your coach because he's leaving you for another woman, but you don't want to sleep in a hotel for the next few weeks, so you go ahead and you make it work.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Mike, I know we had a text here from Jimmy on the Titan Mar text line. He says, I know you at one time worked at South Carolina. Your thoughts, do they fire Shane Beamer?
Man, oh man, I'm telling you, I don't think so. And I'm watching that game in the Grove. Basically, Shane, you and I caught up, and that was great, catching up with you and some of your old friends from the Delta. And I'm going from one tent to the next, and it was 30-3. And then I'm like, oh my Lord, they're going to blow this. I've talked about this so many times. Head coaches are very often linked to quarterbacks in terms of their success and to their survival. Now, in the case of Lane Kiffin, it's different. because Lane does good with every quarterback. I mean, he's taken a Division II kid from Ferris State, and he's winning a bunch of games. Matt Corral couldn't hit the broadside of a barn when Matt Luke was the coach. Lane Kiffin gets a hold of him, and he's all conference, and he gets drafted into the NFL. Shane Beamer and his success was based on this, and I know you kind of pegged it right away on Lenore Sellers. People were talking about Lenore Sellers as a Heisman Trophy candidate. Remember, he was voted first team All-SEC by the media in Birmingham however many months ago. And I'm not saying there's not other problems there. They fired their OC. Their offensive line is leaky. But he hadn't played very well at all. Not at all. And so their offense, I mean, everybody knows how to defend it. If you keep Lenore's from running, it's just not very effective. And it's a long way of answering your question in that I don't think they would fire him now because of a number of reasons. There's a new AD, there's a buyout, and Shane has done some good things. They're coming off a 9-win season. They have beaten Clemson 2 out of 3. If they beat Clemson 3 out of 4, that doesn't happen a lot around there. The only guy that's done that in my lifetime is Steve Spurrier. That would be enough goodwill, I think, in the offseason. But I'll tell you this, I mean, the fans, I sense a just unbelievable frustration with where it's going because they're getting talented players. They're getting recruits. They're getting the portal. The crowds are great. The support's great. But they're not getting the results that they thought they would. So I would say his heat on the seat has definitely been dialed up quite a bit.
Mike, I know you probably didn't get to see any of it, but just your thoughts on Alabama losing at home to Oklahoma.
Didn't see it coming, Shane. We do a pick contest too every week, and that's one I missed. I thought, and it's not a knock on Oklahoma. I had Oklahoma, Texas earlier in the year, and they didn't look good. But Mateer was clearly not. I mean, he was coming off that surgery and couldn't throw the ball worth a damn and threw 3 picks. I thought revenge for Alabama at home. And somebody asked on your show this morning, I caught a little bit of it. Who do you think's what quarterback would you start your offense with? I would start it with Ty Simpson personally. I think Ty's been terrific this year, and he's a first-year starter, but he did not have a great game. I mean, he threw for a lot of yards, but it wasn't his best game. But I think more importantly, Oklahoma's offense came alive against Alabama's D more than I thought it would. That is a gutsy win by Oklahoma. So I was surprised by that. Think about this. Don't count Texas out. I'm going to tell you why. So we have Texas A&M, our final game of the regular season on Elite Media Network. Texas will roll in to Austin. A&M will roll into Austin, I should say. Texas has 3 losses. If they beat A&M, I don't know if there's any other team in the country that will have beaten 2 top 10 teams. Because remember, Texas beat Oklahoma in the shootout, and they have a chance to beat A&M in that ball game. So that would mean they would be a 9-3 SEC team with no bad losses and 2 wins against 2 top 8 teams for that matter. Mm-hmm. I think there's still a chance that Texas could get into this thing as a 3-loss team.
Yeah, that's interesting. Baron 71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum. Does Mike think this is the end of the Dabo Clemson domination era? Seems like the God loves Clemson football recruiting pitch and ignore the transfer portal has hurt Clemson the past 4 years.
I think it's already been over. I mean, this is the nadir, the low point of the Dabo era by far. I mean, they've got a chance to squeeze out a bowl game, but Dabo can sell a lot of things. I don't know if he's going to be able to sell the Humanitarian Bowl or the Independence Bowl or whatever bowl game he winds up in. Whatever it is, there'll be 27 opt-outs and nobody will care. It's clear that there's a disconnect right now to me with Dabo and with the program and with the fan base. It's bizarre, Shane, because you got to remember Clemson was fairly irrelevant before Dabo got there. I mean, Tommy Bowden did some good things. He'd always be on the hot seat, and then he'd beat like a top 10 Florida State to save his job. But they, for the most part, they were never relevant on the national championship picture. Well, Dabo wins 2, and he takes them to 6 consecutive playoffs. And it's like, okay, like every other fan base, if this sounds familiar, once you taste that level of success, you think it's going to be there in perpetuity. You think you're never going to not be a national championship caliber program. Well, this just it can go away. It can go away fast. And in this case, it's not because of a coaching change like the ones at Florida. It's just because the same coach is set in his ways, doesn't want to change stuff. And I'll add one other thing about the demise of Clemson. It's not just the lack of the portal. You got to remember that cat in Norman, Oklahoma, Brent Venables, that was Dabo's DC for years and years. He had Tony Elliott. He had Scott as their offensive coordinators. He had continuity, the likes that most programs don't have anymore. But all those coaches eventually, you could say they hit the portal to get to take head coaching jobs. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Dabo's been the same. Remember, he was never a coordinator. He was never a head coach. He was a position coach. And now all of a sudden, all his coordinators have been gone, and I don't think they've looked the same ever since.
I agree. And also, people always talked about Billy should have hired an offensive coordinator. Well, he hired the hottest offensive coordinator in America the year TCU played for the national title, Garrett Riley, and they have not been very good on offense in any of those years. So you just never know.
No, it's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Everybody wanted some Garrett Riley, and it has been a complete bust there. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up. I'm glad Cliff brought it up on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Did you see where Jamie Chadwell, who was like the hot coach a few years ago? I mean, like, let's go back a year or two ago. He got fired by Liberty.
Whoa, I did not see that.
Yeah. Now, again,
my goodness.
I saw it on Twitter, so maybe Cliff and I fell for the clickbait because sometimes you can't, there's false stuff on Twitter, but I did see that yesterday. But, remember, everybody was talking about hiring him like 2 years ago.
Shane, I talked to him in Gainesville at the Steve Spurrier Awards. Yeah. Remember, he won it for his first year at Liberty. And when he was at Coastal, I could tell you this, there were a ton of Gamecock fans that wanted to see South Carolina hire him. That's shocking to me, and I'll be honest.
Now to confirm this, but I did see that.
Here's what I can confirm. It's been a disappointing year or two at Liberty, right? Like, he had that great first year, but they have not been the same since. That much I do know. And I mean, I think he was very comfortable at Liberty, but most people thought that was going to be a springboard job that Jamie was destined to take, an SEC caliber job or something like that at some point.
Hang on. He has not been fired at Liberty. It was another one of those probably. I told somebody earlier, there's those on 3 sports, and there's somebody that does this no 3 sports and stuff like that.
Somebody got catfish, I think is what they call that. Yeah, I mean, that would be surprising to me, but what is Liberty this year? I mean, I know they're not typical Liberty.
Correct. So it popped up on my Twitter and it was a fake account. So anyway, sorry about that, Jamie Chadwell. If you're listening to the program, sorry about that.
Jamie, everybody still loves you.
That's right. Although they have not played very well this year, I don't believe. Mike, so we really don't have any games, correct me if I'm wrong, in the SEC this week that will determine who goes to Atlanta. Nobody knows who the 2 teams going to go to the SEC championship game. That will all be determined on rivalry weekend, Thanksgiving weekend. That's correct, right?
I believe so, yeah. And really, that's what TV wants. Heck, maybe that's what the SEC wants. They want that to be just. It's almost like a de facto playoff game, because for some teams, you win, you're in, you lose, you're out. That just gives a little extra sales element to the whole thing. And on top of that, kind of like I talked about with Texas A&M, there are going to be some teams not just fighting for maybe the SEC championship game, but more importantly, the playoff. There are some borderline cases of teams that, depending on, like, for example, Alabama. If Alabama loses to Auburn, I don't think they're in the playoff. I don't think a 3-loss Alabama team gets in. I think a 3-loss Texas team does. Chew on that for a little bit. There's some games of that caliber, and of course, to extrapolate that to the country, there's going to be a lot of teams that are playing for their playoff lives, and somebody could get bounced out based on that final game. You have who's Southern Cal have? Southern Cal is still in this thing.
They play probably UCLA left, right?
Yeah, but they have a stronger opponent, I believe, this weekend. Do they not? But anyway, yeah. See, but I mean, there are a lot of 2-loss teams from major conferences that still have a chance at this thing. So the next 2 weeks are going to be very. I mean, this is what I love about the playoff. I can't believe there were people that wanted to keep like the BCS or a 4-team playoff. This is so good for the sport. I don't know how you can enjoy the month of November in college football when you have all these teams that are still playing for something. Now, the one that you cover on a daily basis, obviously the storyline's different. They're playing for Lane Kiffin. They're hoping that the next few weeks will give some clarity on who the head coach is going to be. But for a number of programs out there, it's playoff or bust. It's how do we get into this 12-team playoff? And I think that's great for the sport.
Yeah. All right, before we get you out of here, Mike, this text, which we've discussed it multiple times, it comes from Joshua. He wants to know, Mike, best case scenario, Lane takes the Florida job. When will he announce it? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think you're all over this, Shane, in that he's going to have to announce something around the Egg Bowl. I don't know how you could keep all this. Look, after the game Saturday, I go to there's a new, I won't plug it on your show necessarily, but a new like hot happening bar restaurant in Oxford. And it's what everybody's talking. If you think everybody's talking about it in Gainesville, everybody's talking about it in Oxford and Memphis because they're scared to death of losing Lane Kiffin. So there's all kinds. There's $12.5 million contract. It's on the table. It's going to be signed, done deal. Okay, really? How do you know that? If it's a done deal, then how come he hasn't announced it? Then how come it hasn't been signed? It's not a done deal until it's been signed. So I have to think that like this can't just keep going on. Remember now, the playoff doesn't start till what, December 18th, somewhere around then. So are you going to be able to? You're going to be able to just keep this a mystery that long? I don't think so. So I would have to think something would be done around the Egg Bowl, around the final game of the season, and then just go from there. But, I mean, I could be 100% wrong. Jimmy Sexton and Lane Kiffin hold all the cards. They can do whatever the hell they want, Shane, because I mean, there's leverage and then there's leverage. Yeah. And they've got the most leverage I've seen anybody have in a long time.
Yeah, I think it'll be after Mississippi State because I don't think Lane's going to – I mean, look, I've said on this show multiple times, it ain't like Ole Miss doesn't know what's going on. He's not going to sure Ole Miss for their next – who's going to be their next coach. He's going to give them plenty of time to do what they need to do, in my opinion.
No, and this is what I told a few of the Ole Miss folks. I mean, they're obviously very sensitive about the subject and – you know, they start going into this, well, what does Gainesville have that Oxford doesn't have? And what is it? I'm like, you guys are looking at this thing upside down. He loves Oxford. He might just love the idea of coaching Florida and living in Florida. It's not personal. Mm-hmm. That just might be a different and a better situation for him. It doesn't matter what some clown says on a national platform, well, here are the best jobs. And LSU is clearly the best job. No, that's the best job to you. That doesn't matter. It matters what's the best job for Lane. And if all the things that go into that with family, geography, because he's going to get money no matter where he goes, all those other things, if they are more appealing to Lane at this stage of his life at 50 years old, then that's where he's going to go. And all that other stuff doesn't matter.
Very well said. Mike, have a great call tonight. Any more hoops games this week?
Yeah, I'll have Auburn on Wednesday night. And then football-wise, I go for my first ever trip, and the game's lost a little bit of luster, but I'm still excited. Happy Valley, Nebraska at Penn State on Saturday night. I've never been to Penn State for a football game. I've never called one there, so I will check that off the bucket list. So we've got 2 basketball games for ESPN and 1 football game for Elite Media Network on Saturday.
Building up those frequent flyer miles, my friend. Appreciate your time.
That's right.
We'll talk to you next week.
That's right. Love it. Hey, really great seeing you. Thank you so much. You and all my friends who got a chance to see you. They couldn't say enough about just how friendly you are. They can't believe a guy that was such a good player is actually a good person too. That's always nice to see. So
I
appreciate that.
Good seeing you too, Mike. That's Mike Morgan,
All right, bud.
Titan No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Injuries occur whenever and however, and it's never convenient for sprains, strains, or minor fractures. UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings, and walk-ins are welcome. Go check them out, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Thanks to JC and Mike Morgan. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care.